This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. We see Flair coming to the ring here. Go ahead.
Pardon, go ahead.
I was going to say that I remember the Nikita entrance here, and I remember talking to Dusty about that, and Dusty had told me that, and I don't know if it came across this way. He said, we're going to put a spotlight on Nikita, and it's going to get brighter and brighter. He said, when the spotlight first hits, there may be some fans that think that, oh, Magnum TA is really back, and he's going to wrestle. But then as the spotlight grows brighter and brighter, you find out it's Nikita. Now, that's what he told me that he wanted. I don't know.
Well, let's track it here.
Track it here.
It's a terrible music, but we've got a cutaway shot of what looks like a sunset and an eagle flying. And of course, a lot of people remember, as we see, this is a training montage video now. We see a figure in the distance running on what looks like the beach or down
Virginia Beach. And that's and
there's Magnum's
mom. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we went and shot that one day.
Yeah. So again, it's almost as if you think that here he comes and he's going to make his way back, which obviously, David, we knew that he never would, but
no, yeah. We were just hoping that he would live.
Live, right, exactly. So there's Magnum, and that's the first blood match, I think, from '85.
The I Quit match and the steel cage.
Yeah, that's right. I Quit. I'm sorry, you're right. The I Quit match, which is
that he and Tully?
He and Tully. Which is
our year.
Which is
great match.
Still one of the great matches of all time. So they go from this. They're going to go to Nikita, anyway. I just remember Dusty talking about this moment.
As we see the midsection of Magnum TA there as he's running on the beach, it has a very Rocky-like feel. And of course, as the legend goes, Magnum TA was supposed to be the opponent here for Ric Flair. This was going to be the passing of the torch, if you will.
Right.
Of course, the other channel has a strong baby face. It is a baby face promotion. It's all about Hulkamania. And maybe in hindsight, Crockett was trying to throw their hat in the ring and, make Magnum TA their own Hulk Hogan, if you will.
Well, Magnum had that charisma that, he could have been a Hulkamania. I believe it.
Yeah, it was different but he had that, you're right. He had that charisma. He was more of a rugged, handsome than something that would appeal to the kids, I think, more to the adults. Am I right to say that than the kids?
Yeah. I guess you might say tweens.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. Tough. Want to be a tough guy type thing. He came out dressed in jeans and always had his sunglasses. Well, many times had his sunglasses on. And this is cool. When you think about Magnum not being able to perform again or barely even walk again, this is it's quite a poignant moment.
Yeah.
With he and his mom.
All that was done in the truck there at Briar Bend.
How about that?
Production truck. Wow.
Nemo. By the way, we've been talking about Greensboro, and yes, I always agree that Greensboro should have been the place that Starrcade stays because Thanksgiving was a big deal in Greensboro, and it was a big deal at the Omni, too. They always said Thanksgiving was the biggest day in wrestling, as you know, David, but no one wrestles on Thanksgiving anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think the WWE does. I don't think they did before the pandemic. I'm not sure.
Christmas night was always a fantastic night for us.
Yeah.
And you got tired of being in the house with all the kids and the new toys and banging and you want to go relieve your frustration.
Speaking of Greensboro, shameless plug coming your way. You ready? Wednesday, December 22nd, AEW at the Greensboro Coliseum. Thank you very much. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX or Ticketmaster.com.
So let's talk about Thanksgiving here for a moment. I mean, this is the era where, this show is happening on Thanksgiving Day. What was there any sort of consideration for the fans of, or not the fans, but the actual talent who were missing their Thanksgiving with their families? Tony, in this era, would you do Thanksgiving with Lois and the fam and all that the day before, or another time, or was it just earlier in the day and then you would scoot up to the building, or just talk me through that?
Yeah, it was earlier in the day because it was a day where I think the thought was you got cabin fever, that you've been, like David said, you've been on Christmas Day, you've been in the house. Same thing with Thanksgiving. You've been in the house, had an early dinner, and then everybody got in the car and went to wrestling.
Yes.
I traveled many, many years. I traveled from my home in Virginia. We ate Thanksgiving early. We always ate Thanksgiving dinner early. It wasn't because of wrestling. We ate Thanksgiving dinner early, and I would get in a car with my friends in my later years, my teenage years, and we would drive the 3 hours from my house in Virginia to the Greensboro Coliseum to see wrestling in Greensboro. That was the thing. We saw a double ring, 2 rings, battle royal one time with Andre the Giant, and we always got ringside tickets. We never got front row. For some reason, we got front row tickets that night.
Wow.
And I remember the lady, the lady, a couple of ladies front row said, "Hey, we'd never seen you here before." So obviously the people at the Greensboro Coliseum were regulars who sat in the front row. I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't know why we got front row seats." She said, "Well, someone must have not shown up or canceled their tickets, and they gave them to you instead." I went, "Hell yeah!" So anyway, it was a Thanksgiving tradition, and for the people in Atlanta and the Georgia, going to the Omni was a Thanksgiving tradition as well.
Yeah, you could count on it. You knew it was coming. You could plan for it. It was not something that was spontaneous. It was not something that, like a rock concert or so forth, that, you could, in a year in advance, you knew it was going to happen.
The Nature Boy here is revealing the big gold belt, which also debuted in '86, but I think this is the debut of that robe too. Flair has told me before that at the time that was by far his most expensive robe ever. So he saved the best for last here with Starrcade '86. But the big gold belt would replace what most wrestling fans, Tony Schiavone included, most closely associate the NWA World Title with. It's been nicknamed by collectors as the Domed Globe. What'd you think of the big gold here, Mr. Crockett?
Well, since I had a lot to do with having it made, I liked it. Really. I mean, Jimmy, we were talking about it. He said he wanted a new belt. I said, okay. And so I started looking, came up with some designs from different people. And there again, calling them up. And these were not wrestling, people. They'd say, "You want to do what? And what size?" And, it's not a little belt buckle. It's, it's a big belt. They got it done.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. You really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com. And I went through Nelson Royal shop, right, in Mooresville, the Western wear store, and I think it was ordered through the Crumrine organization. Mr. Ortiz did it by hand, and it's really inspired by the old belt buckles that we talked about before, right?
That's right, yes. And it actually had true gems in it, which were eventually knocked out, or they were disappeared, so we put fake ones in later on.
Did you think when you were constructing the belt, did you and Jimmy and talk about, hey, there's a 5-year-old kid right now in Huntsville, Alabama, who eventually will want to buy that belt one day? Did you think about that?
No, it didn't, because I never thought we would want to sell it.
Which by the way, has me asking, do you have any belts in your possession you'd like to sell? Because I know there's someone on the line.
Him,
Okay.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
it.
he knows
Okay.
about the ones, behind me, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
took
sure.
him. I took him to Chicago and showed him.
Oh, yes, that's right. I remember
Yeah.
you brought him out when we did our little thing on set,
Yeah.
which was a great weekend, by the way.
Oh, I had a good time.
Well done.
Good
I'm
time.
surprised you two guys remember it.
Why?
Paul Bromwell, you son of a bitch. I know you're listening. He kept sending mules to us, Moscow mules.
Those were good.
Yeah, those were.
Now, I hate to do this. When are
Go
you
ahead.
going to be in Greensboro?
December 22nd, Wednesday. Mark it down on your calendar.
That's what I'm doing.
And we're going to come to Raleigh too.
Ooh.
After the first year on January 12th at the PNC Arena in Raleigh.
We gotta make mention of Tommy Young here. He's our referee. Flair's got on new tights, new boots, new robe. He's got his first day of school look going here. And I think a lot of people, given the little video that we saw in Magnum TA and the idea that Nikita and Magnum were these bitter rivals, but he's now a babyface and he's here to fight for Magnum. A lot of folks probably assume he's going to combine the U.S. championship and the world title and leave as world champion. Do you think it was ever seriously considered? Because it does feel like if he's been this heel, given what's happening with Magnum and
Right.
the feel good story, it does feel like, okay, let's send him home happy. It doesn't go that way. Do you think it was ever even seriously considered?
No, we were just in survival mode at that time, trying to figure out, okay, what do we do, since Magnum's out? And we're always, thinking about Magnum at the same time, but realized that we had to figure something out. And thankfully, believe it or not, Rick helped us out with that too, talking about, Nikita. And Nikita, stepped up.
Yeah, we talked to
Yeah.
Nikita. We talked to Nikita last week, and he said for someone who had just really started in the business, like 4 years before this, Conrad, wasn't it
Correct,
about
yes.
82?
Yeah.
For him to be in the main event was kind of like mind blowing for him. But again, Rick had this ability to make a match with anyone.
Yes, he
and
did.
He is bumping for Nikita now, buddy.
And the thing is, he's talking to him the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Rick is. So,
exactly.
Because, there again, Nikita is trying to figure out, like you say, he's awestruck that he's in this event. He wants to do his very best. And Rick just has to, and Rick at some point, will blow him up a little bit so he'll relax, because he's gasping for air. Then he'll relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And Tommy's talking to him to help him out.
Because Rick just said so. Rick was shouting at the referee.
Yeah.
But he was telling the referee what to tell Nikita, which is, again, it is the magic of the business. Ric Flair right now is directing this whole thing. He is directing the whole thing. And he's basically calling everything, and he's doing it so subtly that you can't tell he's doing it. And Tommy Young's a part of this. It's just, to me, this is just a wonderful part of the business.
He's taking the strong points of Nikita and helping Nikita through this. And Nikita's doing great.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and Tommy's all into it. Tommy Young.
In your mind, is Tommy Young the greatest referee ever, Mr. Crockett?
Why do you want to say that? Tommy Young is Tommy Young. Greatest. I want to say he's probably the most involved.
Yeah.
He really personally will definitely. Yeah, I would say, what is the greatest? I'm not trying to hide from the question, but even Sonny Fargo had certain characters as a referee.
Stu Schwartz.
Yeah.
There's another name.
Sonny's was he wouldn't take a shower.
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, God, that's nasty.
So, and we've talked to Tommy Young, and Tommy will say, when you call him the greatest referee, he'll say, well, the Hebners, talking about both Earl and David, are the greatest referees ever. So
pay close attention here. I think in just a minute, we're going to have a situation.
Is this where it happens?
Now, Nikita's exposed and Tommy just helped him out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nikita's balls came out. You saw it, and Tommy saw it, and he pushed them back in.
Oh, I bet he loved that.
Well, that's being a pro.
Yep.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. Wow. How about that? Man,
yeah,
you know
sleight of hand.
I didn't remember that. Conrad, good call for the attempt. Let's show that on replay.
Yeah, replay. I know all the fans right now say they won't replay.
Yeah, we want to see
replay.
You can always rewind back if you're watching on video.
Yeah, we want the ball shot. Give me the ball shot.
Wow.
I had just gotten back into wrestling. I'm going to guess 2012 or maybe 13. And when the network popped up in 14, or before it did, one of my friends were having a conversation about Starrcades and blah, blah, blah. And then he just casually mentioned, is that the one where Tommy Young had to tuck blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because I totally missed it. And then, of course, when the network loaded, a lot of fans were curious. Will they edit that out? And no, they did not.
No.
Got to see the real Russian sickle there, if you're into that sort of thing.
Tremendous. That is tremendous. So good job, Tommy.
Did you ask Nikita about that when you interviewed him?
No, I didn't know how to bring that up.
Yeah. It's great to see Nikita so happy and doing well these days. It really is. And he's had quite a life.
Does he still live in Kannapolis?
I believe, yeah, the Concord, Kannapolis area up there, in north of Charlotte. I think so, but he's still in North Carolina somewhere. I should Google him, look it up. I'm sure he's got, because I know he has a podcast, and
yeah, Koloff.net if you want to check him out.
Koloff.net.
Yep.
And again, here's a true story, because I got to know Nikita very well, as I did a lot of the guys. He legally changed his name to Nikita S. Koloff.
Yes, he did.
And because he grew up in a family without a dad, just he and his mom, and he did not want that last name, which, by the way, is Simpson. Did not want to carry that last name with him, and he also really he believed in the gimmick, man. He played it. He played it up more as well as anybody.
He worked so hard on his voice, that raspy voice,
right?
That, he can't change it now, with his.
Yeah.
Even if he tried, his vocal cords.
He's a little bit better than he used to be, but yeah, he's quite a character now. Which, by the way, we asked him what it meant, and he said it remains a secret.
Mr. Crockett, the weirdness of working in professional wrestling, the egos, the hurt feelings, the paranoia, just working with the talent. Nikita's still very young in the business here, and now he's the top spot, the main event of Starrcade against the NWA World Champion, Ric Flair. Do you remember did it ever go to Nikita's head? Did he ever take it too seriously?
No. He was humbled by the fact that he was going to wrestle Rick for the world championship at Starrcade, in the main event. It was a great opportunity. He rose to the challenge, and this match also helped him with his future. He's a tough son of a bitch.
So you mentioned earlier that your brother is going to be on a plane with Dusty Rhodes as they try to get from the Greensboro Coliseum down here to the Omni in Atlanta. When they arrive, does Jimmy come straight to the truck? Does he go to the back?
Goes to the back.
Okay.
Goes to the back. We are in touch with them. Freddie Floyd, who was the main pilot, would radio a message, let's say, to the tower, and they in turn would give us different times of when they would arrive, how close they are. And then once they could touch down and call, they would. So, it's like, stretch it. It's, that was the hard time, that being in the air. And, that is a factor that we couldn't control. A lot of this you can, but there was so much that could happen.
Yeah.
The great Freddie Floyd.
Oh, yes.
What a pilot.
The career of Nikita Koloff was criminally short in hindsight, just given how hot the World Wrestling Federation was, how hot Hulk Hogan was, the idea that Vince McMahon was really running a babyface territory and he was looking for, monster heels. He was looking for a heel factory, if you will. Given all that was going on with the Cold War and just what we know about Vince being a quote unquote body guy, were you ever concerned, Mr. Crockett, that, boy, what if Vince wants Nikita? I mean, because Hogan Koloff at a WrestleMania, not too far removed from Ivan Drago, Rocky Balboa, Rocky IV. That seems like that would have been a home run for Vince.
You would think. I don't know why he didn't do it. We always were concerned about, Vince is going to come in and offer a ton of money, to talent. You look at, that's what happened with Roddy Piper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piper, the first Starrcade, and then that was it. Yeah.
And, Piper, being the true gentleman, he said, I will not come back to this area for him. I will, and his career took off with Vince, which I can't fault him for that. There's certain things that we could provide and certain things we could not at the time. I think in a lot of ways we were playing catch up when we should have seen it years before. But we didn't. Hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah,
sure.
David, when the company would be sold to Turner Broadcasting, I don't know, we've had you on before, but when the company was sold to Turner Broadcasting, you were, as far as members of the family, more involved in the new WCW operations than anyone. Jimmy was too, to a certain extent. Jackie still ran camera. Francis really wasn't that involved. What was your feelings once the company was sold and now you work for Turner Broadcasting? Were you relieved that maybe the pressure of running a company was off of you, or were you sorry to see it go? What were your feelings?
Oh, I was definitely sorry to see it go. I fought it tooth and nail.
Really?
Sale. Yeah, I did not want it at all. Matter of fact, the blonde-headed gentleman in the ring did not want it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, David, I will do with you whatever needs to be done. To not go to Turner.
Right.
And I was really tempted to take it Chapter 11 and, basically start out, start fresh and, go with our syndicated shows in the area and,
right.
Expand for there. We had a TV truck.
Yeah.
We had certain things that we could do, and an area that was doing well. We did need 2 offices, one in Dallas, and that's what sent us over the end. The expense of that office, the expenses that we inherited from Mid-South Wrestling.
Yeah.
It's, you know, 2 planes, Nat, you know, he had a Falcon 20 and G1.
Oh yeah. Flew on both of them many times.
Matter of fact, the day Jimmy bought the Falcon, Stardust, by the way, Jim Babb from Jefferson Production, WBT, came to me and he said, David, we want to help you. We want to buy in to this company. That would have been the saving grace.
Yeah, Jefferson Pilot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, production, you know, they had this huge production facility on
Sure did.
and today still does.
Right.
You know, but Jimmy had already made his deal with Turner, which I did not know at the time, and he turned it down flat.
Wow.
Yeah. So wouldn't even talk to Jim Babb, and you know, to this day I see Jim still. And he goes to St. Peter's where we go, and we talk about it every now and then.
Wow, that Jim Babb story is a great story, David.
Yeah.
So there you saw it. Tommy Young just took a big spill onto the outside, and he's hurting pretty good.
Yeah. So who's going to take his place? Got to have a referee.
I think Scrappy McGowan.
Scrappy's going to come in?
I think so.
Okay. We've seen Scrappy on some TVs, but not many. And maybe that's why we started seeing him on some TVs leading up to this, because you're going to see him come in. Well, David, put a wrap on that one. I just think you obviously made the most of it and did quite well with WCW all those years.
Tony, I had to deal with my brother.
Yeah.
And so I could deal with the Turner people.
Right.
Really, I firmly believe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Frances, because she wanted to do the merchandising thing with Turner. Well, they had their whole division.
Right.
And they were going to, and then Jimmy, with Jim Hurd and Jack Petrick, he went in there and told them, you know, you need to do this, and this. And they sort of looked at him and said, goodbye.
Yeah.
Send him home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
down goes Scrappy, Russian sickle.
Wow. 2 referee bumps.
So who's next? Who's gonna?
Look at Tommy. Tommy dramatically pulling himself up.
It's going to be a double DQ, and this is a non-finish for Starrcade. Oh, and there you see, big bump as Nikita pushes him down, and
you got need
twice, and he calls for the bell.
Yeah, hindsight 2020, it would be nice to have Nikita pin Rick. I'm not see it. Right. You could go down and, you know, fans or you could do like a 1, 2, 3, and
wow,
could happen. Yeah,
he is wiping out everybody. Wiped out the referees. We got 3 referees in there now.
Jimmy Garvin just came in there. It looks like
Jimmy Garvin. There, I believe. There's Big Bubba. They're holding Nikita. Bill Dundee, who, by the way, just wrestled Sam Houston there at the Omni. I like guys in jeans with their shirts off. It's like a group, a singing group. Ronnie Garvin. There's Bobby freaking Jaggers. Oh, my God. Wow. I love that. Nikita breaks through, leg dives him.
Yeah. This is good.
Yeah, this is good. Finish is not good, but the end is pretty good.
But, you know, if
they
maybe if I had one of the Rock and Roll Express come in and do a 3 count.
Yeah.
Like on Rick and but it's not a referee.
Yeah. Well, they
hindsight 2020.
Of course it is. That's what we're able to do here by watching the stuff that's 35 years old now.
Yes.
Fans standing at the Omni, all those orange chairs at the Omni, and
I do want to ask though, Mr. Crockett, you know, Starrcade 83, of course, was the Flair for the gold, the very first one. Harley Race would drop the world title to Ric Flair. It starts Flair's second run, and really he became the nature boy after that we know. I mean, he was the top dog after that. The win he had in 81 didn't instill a lot of confidence, but when he wins it at Starrcade 83, he's the man. But then we come back at Starrcade 84, and Flair beats Dusty with Joe Frazier stopping the bout for blood, so a non-finish.
Right.
And then Starrcade 85, the follow-up effort, it's a rematch with Flair and Dusty, and it looks like Dusty wins the title, and he's congratulated by a bunch of wrestlers, but then, of course, the belt winds up going back to Flair when the decision is overturned.
Right.
And now we're doing a double DQ. It starts to feel a little bit like, wait a minute, is Starrcade what we wanted it to be? Or,
wait. You better remember, it was supposed to be Magnum.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be Magnum there. All right. So, you know, we could have had a different type of finish, you know, similar to let's say the Dusty one, where Nikita gets his hand raised, but it's not, you know, legal in a way. And, you know, and then you have the afterbirth or whatever but there again, you know, Magnum was supposed to be there. We are trying to figure out what do we need to do? You don't want to kill Rick and you don't want to kill Nikita.
Right.
You needed, you know, no, you'd never like a double DQ or anything like that.
Let's take a listen here.
Yeah.
Over the Midnight Express on that scaffold. I've never seen a match like that, Tony.
What about Paul Jones getting his head shaved?
Well, I tell you, Big Mama was a happy lady that night, and Paul Jones ended up with that bald head that Jimmy Valiant had promised his people for so long.
And I think we saw one classic match when we saw the World Tag Team Champions of Rock and Roll Express take a tremendous beating from the Andersons, but still come up as the World Tag Team Champions.
All in all, a great night here. We saw the United States Tag Team Champions, Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev, defeat the Kansas Jayhawks. All in all, a great Starrcade 86.
It was a great Starrcade 86. Only one way to cap it off to relive the highlights that you have seen here tonight. Let's take a look at the highlights of Starrcade 86, the Skywalkers.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.